Yep, there are two of me on screen right now. This is the way this effect usually looks in OBS. But watch what happens when we add just a little bit of depth. Or we switch focus to the background. I think it looks quite good. I'm Finite Singularity, and today we're going to create this effect in OBS with depth and focus. Now, this looks complicated, but the setup is actually quite simple. We're going to build this starting with just a chroma keyed camera and a background scene behind it. Then I'll show you the part that really sells the effect. So let's jump on in and get started with the base OBS setup. In order to pull this effect off, we'll first need to install two free OBS plugins. The Move plugin, which lets us animate and orchestrate everything, and the Composite Blur plugin, which will let us, well, blur things. If you don't yet have them installed, I've got links in the description. So go on, go install the plugins. Come on, everyone's waiting. Now that you've got the plugins installed, we'll need a couple of scenes. The first one we'll call Background. This will be a nested scene that holds our background image as well as our clone video. You'll also need a pre-recorded video of yourself being the clone and an image of your background without the clone. Add the background image as an image source, and on top of it, the clone video as a media source. In the media source settings, be sure to check the box for restart playback when source becomes active. Next, we'll add our face cam scene. And to this, we'll add that nested background scene we just created, as well as our chroma keyed face cam itself. Now, if you don't have a green screen, this effect does work with filters like the NVIDIA background removal filter, but it looks so much better using a real green screen. If you want to learn how to do a chroma key with your green screen, I have a video I put together on how to nail a key in OBS with ease. Link in the description. And there we have it. All the pieces are in place, but it looks kind of flat. Let's fix that. Let's get real deep, man, and add some depth to this setup. This is where the Composite Blur plugin comes in. In your face cam scene, right-click the background you just added and select Filters. We'll then add a Composite Blur filter and call it Blur. Select Gaussian for your blur type and adjust the blur radius until you get the depth of field that you like. For my setup, a value of 4 works great. This alone makes the scene look a lot better. But now, let's add that secret sauce. This is the part that changes everything, because right now, this still feels like things happening in OBS. What we want is for this to feel like a real camera with depth of field. In real cameras, this is called rack focus. It's when the focus shifts between subjects in the same scene. And that's exactly what sells the illusion. We already built both layers, our foreground and our background. Now, we're just going to animate the focus between them. We're going to add a blur filter to our foreground, then use the Move plugin to animate where and how much blur we have. One state is the face cam in focus, the other is the background in focus, and we'll toggle between them instantly. Once this is set up, the entire illusion just happens automatically. We've already got our blur set up for our background, so next let's do the same for our foreground. I'm going to start by undoing the blur on my background so I can easily see the changes on the foreground by setting the background blur radius to 0. Next, right-click on your face cam and select Filters. Add a composite blur filter called Blur, and this is important, make sure it's applied after your chroma key. Otherwise, you're going to get a green halo around everything and it'll just look terrible. Again, select a Gaussian blur and set the blur radius to the same value you had set for your background, in my case, 4. Now you'll probably notice a dark halo around your blurred self. We can fix this using the composite part of Composite Blur. In the background source for compositing field, select your nested background scene, and voila, the dark halo just goes away. Next, we just need to control the focus and animate the changes. And to do this, we'll use the Move plugin. In our face cam filters, add a Move Value filter and call it In Focus. Select the Blur filter as what will change, single value, and the blur radius for that value. Now set the value itself to 0, then move down to duration and make sure custom duration is checked and set a duration of 250 milliseconds. This is how long our focus change will take. Next, duplicate this filter and call the new one Out of Focus. In the Out of Focus filter settings, change the value to your blur radius value, in my case, 4. So now we have the ability to animate the focus change of our face cam. We just need to do the same for our background, with exactly the same Move Value filter names and settings. We'll make one to animate the blur radius to 0 over 250 milliseconds, and another to animate it to 4 over 250 milliseconds. The last piece is having all this done in unison with a single filter toggle. Right-click on your main face cam scene and select Filters. We're going to add some move action filters to orchestrate everything. Create a new move action and call it Focus Foreground. For your start action, select Filter Enable, select the face cam source as the source, and the In Focus filter to be enabled. Set the custom duration to 0, and for the end action, again, select Filter Enable, only this time select your nested background scene for the source and Out of Focus for the filter. Now, if you click the eyeball, your background should blur and your face cam should sharpen in unison. So duplicate this filter and call it Focus Background. Open the filter and swap the filters called for the start and end effect so that your face cam enables Out of Focus and your background enables In Focus. Now we can swap between the two. Okay, let's pause for a second and look at what just happened. We didn't just blur something, we changed what the camera is focusing on. Let's watch this again. Foreground sharp, background out of focus, and now it swaps, as does what the viewer is focused on. Now imagine this happening automatically based on what's on screen. That's what we build next. And this is where it stops being just OBS and starts feeling like a real camera system. Now we're gonna tie everything together with the clone video. And the trick here is simple. The clone doesn't just appear, it drives the focus system. When the clone comes in, we shift the focus to the background. Then, while they're on screen, everything runs automatically. And at the end, we bring the focus back to the main subject and clean everything up. Think of it like a self-contained 10-second animation. First, go to your clone video in the background scene. Add a fade in and fade out transition for the source, 300 milliseconds each, just to make the entrance feel smooth. Next, we need the clone video to actually turn itself off after it finishes playing. So we'll create a move action called Toggle Source. Leave the start action as none, set the custom duration to your clone video length, mine is 10 seconds, and for an end action, select source visibility and disable the clone video source in your background scene. Finish up by having it trigger when the source becomes visible in the final mix. Now click the filter to test if it works. Now for the important part, the focus shift. We're going to sync the rack focus to the same timeline as our clone video. So add a second move action and call it rack focus. At the start, switch to background focus by enabling the focus background filter on our face cam scene. At the end, we switch back to foreground focus by enabling the focus foreground filter. Set the same duration as our clone video so everything stays in perfect sync. This filter should also have its start trigger be when the source becomes visible in the final mix. That way, both of these actions will trigger when the clone video source is enabled. So once it starts, everything just runs automatically. Finally, let's add a single button to activate the whole thing. Go back to your face cam scene and create a move action, and we'll call it Send in the Clone. And set the start action on this filter to enable the clone video source. Now, when we turn on the filter, the clone appears, the focus shifts, the clone does their thing, and everything resets when they leave. That's it. Chef's kiss. The final thing we need is a way to trigger this outside of OBS. Now you can use something like StreamerBot or Atom for things like channel point redemptions, but I'm gonna keep it simple and just wire it up to a Stream Deck button to trigger manually. And this part is really simple. We just assign our Send in the Clone filter to a Stream Deck button. In the Stream Deck software, add an OBS filter button, select your face cam scene as the source, and turn on the Send in the Clone filter. And now, one button runs the entire effect. Clone comes in, focus shifts, everything is automated. And just like that, you've cloned yourself in a way that feels cinematic and realistic. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.